Hello, so creative. Welcome to today's tutorial. On today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to draft and sew this beautiful shirt that you are seeing. We are also going to learn how to input our pockets, our waistband, and everything about this shirt. So if this is your first time of clicking to my channel, you are welcome. My name is Faustina, and we post more of sewing tutorials, sewing hack, drafting, anything about fashion blog. So you are welcome. Please press the notification bell and also subscribe to our channel because you're gonna enjoy it. No boring moments at all. So let's move over to our cutting table. So these are the materials that we are making use of. These are my French curve, my ruler, my scissors, my tape, my chalk, and 1 yard of fabric. So with 1 yard of fabric, you can make this beautiful shirt that you are seeing there. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two using my hip divide by 4 plus 5 inches extra allowance that will serve as excess, that we are like excess that we will use to alter our trouser parts. So I've gone ahead to mark out my starting point, and at that folded area I'm marking out 2 inches. So we are going to start drafting our short from that 2 inches mark that I mark. So at our starting point, I want to mark out our crotch depth. So how do you get your crotch depth? Your hip divide by 4 plus 1 inch will give you your perfect crotch depth. So I've gone ahead to mark my crotch depth using my hip divide by 4 plus extra 1 inch allowance. So from my starting point to I'm marking out my short length, which is 14 inches. After marking my short length, I'm going to mark out my 2 inches hemming allowance. This is 2 inches. I'll use it and hem the down part. So I'm going to fold back the 2 inches. So after marking the lines, I'm now going to mark out our waist divide by our hip divide by 4 so that I will get my crotch line using my hip divide by 4. I did not add 1. This is when you want to find your crotch depth that you will add your hip divide by 4 plus 1, but your crotch line you just do your hip divide by 4, you get your crotch line. So from my crotch, I'm going up by 2 inches to get my hip line. So from your crotch line, you go up by 2 inches to get your hip line. So I've gone ahead to mark up. So we are now going to input our thigh measurement, which is also known as crotch extension. So you input your thigh measurement. Perfect way of getting your crotch extension is dividing your hip into by 20. If you divide your hip by 20, anything it give you, you use it as your crotch extension. So I've gone ahead to mark to curve down my crotch extension, as you can see. So I now mark it down. So at the upper part, I'm going to input my waist measurement. My waist divide by 4. So from my crotch line, you see from my crotch line is where I will start to input my waist measurement. My waist divide by 4 plus 1 inch that intake. So I've gone ahead to mark it. I will now mark the line back to my waist, my hip line. I will now mark it back to my hip line, like I will mark my waistline back to my hip line. As you can see, so I had to divide the waist, what I got into two, so that I will mark out my dart leg. So I came down by 4 inches and I opened up my dart by half inches. That was why we added extra 1 inches at the measurement. Your waist divide by 4 plus 1 inch dart intake. So our front trouser pattern is ready. We now start adding our sewing allowance of 1 inches at that 2 inches extra allowance that I left before. As you can see, we added 1 inches at the side of our trouser. This will serve as our sewing allowance. So after adding our sewing allowance, at my crotch line, I'm going to come in by 0.25 and I'm going to mark it back to that our crotch curve. So this will give it that relaxing effect after sewing. So I'm now going to cut it out. Our front pattern is ready. I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut it out. After cutting it out, we are going to fold another fabric for our back pattern. So I want to use this opportunity to thank those that have already subscribed to our channel. Thank you, God bless you, I really appreciate, and thanks for liking and thanks for also commenting. You people are the real VIP. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two and I place my front pattern on top, leaving excess allowance at the crotch side. So we are going to first of all extend our crotch extension. So at that our crotch extension, we are going to come out by 2 inches. That is, if your crotch extension is 2, you are going to come out at the back extension by 2 again. If it's 3, you are going to come out by 3 again. But at my hem side, I added 1.5. I want it to be fitted at my hem, so I added 1.5. So at your crotch curve, you are going to also add 2 inches at your crotch curve. As you can see me doing, I'm coming out by 2 inches. So after marking it out, you are going to extend your crotch line by 1.5. That is to say, your back crotch line or crotch depth will be 1.5 inches longer than your front crotch line. So your back will be 1.5 inches longer than your front, and you taper it back to your waist. So our back pattern is ready. We are now going to cut it out. So just cut it out. After cutting it out, we are now going to work on our pockets and on our waist band, and also we are going to work on our sewing parts. So I went ahead to cut all. So I will now remove the front pattern and let's impute that on our back pattern. After imputing that on our back pattern using the same method that we use on our front pattern, we are now going to start marking out our bind. So I went ahead to fold our darts and pin it down, and after pinning it down, I went ahead to start marking out 1 inches from my waist. 1.5 inches, yeah, 1.5 inches at my waist. So my band is 1.5 inches. So the reason of cutting it out because I want my binding to have that fold effect. So this 1.5 inches, when I want to replace it back, I'm going to cut out 3 inches, and when I fold it, like I'm going to cut out 4 inches. When I fold it, and after sewing, everything will now remain like 1.5 inches again. Like I will fold it into two when I want to replace our bind. So I'm going ahead to cut out 4 pieces that we are going to use to form our pocket. 4 pieces material, or 8 by 8, like 8 inches long and 8 inches width. So the length was 8 inches and the width was also 8 inches. So at our waist side, I'm going to come in by 4 inches. I'm going to come down by 5 inches to form our pocket. So I now went ahead to place our front pattern on top of that our pieces. That pieces, two will serve as pocketing while two will also serve as pocket turner. So I'm going to shape it to pocket, how pocket used to be. Remember, two is pocketing and while two is our pocket turner. So I'm going to remove the two that is our pocketing. That pocketing, what's the work of pocketing? Well, pocketing is going to replace these pieces that we are going to cut out from this our fabric now. So this 4 inches, our pocketing is going to replace it. So after forming our pocket, our waist will return back to its former measurement. So we are going to cut out these 4 inches that we mark, as you can see me cutting it with two pieces that will serve as our pocket turner. So we are going to use that two pieces to turn that place that we cut out. Like I will now place our pocket turner on top of our front fabric. I will now pin it down. I will sew 1/2 inches all over. From our waist, I will sew 1/2 inches down to that 5 inches place that we cut. After sewing it, I will notch it and flip it back to our wrong side of. So I will now flip it back to the wrong side of our fabric. I will now place our pocketing on top of our pocket turner. As you can see, I've flipped the knicker at the wrong side, and I placed our pocketing on top of our pocket turner, and I will pin it down. So I went ahead to do the same thing to the other side of the pocket. I flip it at the back side. I place our pocketing on top of our pocket turner, and I pin it down. So after pinning it down, you are going to sew it. You are going to take it to your sewing machine and sew 1/2 inches all the way. Like both your pocketing and your pocket turner, you are going to join them together and sew 1/2 inches all the way down. So I've gone ahead to sew it. You see our pocket has been formed. So you see the lines. I've gone ahead to sew it, and also gone ahead to sew our crotch by 1/2 inches, both for our front and our back pattern. So this is our back pattern. I went ahead to sew our crotch and also head our darts. So I'm now going to sew the side using that 1 inches allowance that we added to our trouser when drafting it. That sewing inches allowance is what I'm going to use to sew it. So I've gone ahead to sew it. This is it. So let's now sew the crotch side, like the inner leg of our trouser, our knicker. So I'm going to place the crotch, the front crotch and the back crotch meeting each other. You pin it down. After pinning it down, you are going to sew inches from your hem side to the other hem. So I went ahead to fold our hem, like fold our that 2 inches that we added when drafting. I folded it into two. I folded the first one, I iron it. I now fold the last one and also iron it. So at the back side is where we are going to add our zip, which is at our back crotch side. So I went ahead to loosen it up, and I'm measuring my waist so that I will cut out my waistband. So I went ahead to fold my waist into two as I said earlier, and I'm marking out 2 inches. These 2 inches that I'm marking at, if you open it up, is 4 inches, but because it's folded, is now 2 inches. So we are going to also sew it as is folded. We are not going to open it up. We are going to sew it folded, in a folded way. So we are going to our ironing table to iron half inches down. We iron half inches down. After ironing the half inches down, we are now going to now sew it to our waist. So I went ahead to sew the hem side. I'm now going to ahead to sew our waist. As you can see, I've ironed half inches down, both the up and the down. I iron half inches. So I'm now going to start tucking in our waist inside our band by half inches. I've tucked it in. I will now pin it down. So after doing pinning it down, sewing on our waist, we are now going to now sew our zip. So our trouser is ready. Please, if you find this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, share and press the notification bell so that you getting more of this beautiful tutorial, and also invite your friends so that they will benefit. Bye. I love you. Bye.